Hello and welcome to Adam's Music Box, where today we wish a very happy 85th birthday to Mavis Staples, who was from the wonderful, wonderful group, the Staples Singers. Some people say that she was sort of the leader. They were just all great. But Mavis is obviously the lost surviving member of the original group. And what a voice she had, what a sound they made, what history they made, because not a lot of people really realize just how many decades they spanned. Now, a lot of bands or groups or solo artists have a lot of trajectory in terms of their career length because they keep doing the same thing. They might have had a peak at one point and then sort of go on the nostalgia circuit or go on the cruise circuit or something else like that. But the staple singers managed to have chart success and remain relevant and commercial at the same time over so many decades. And the key was that they stayed true to their beliefs as a gospel group that were delivering important messages. I mean, this you could say that the Staple Singers were the best sounding newspaper or history book or philosophy book or spiritual guidebook that there's ever been, because at the fundamental root of the music, the Staple Singers were preaching. They began as a gospel group, and they never really ceased being one. But in terms of the label under which the records were sold in the 1950s, when they began, it would have been under the gospel section of the record store. And many of their records were explicitly gospel right up until the later decades of their career. But they were also a group that found a lot of chart success in R&B, in soul, and so forth. But there was always, of course, that root, that gospel root. They were, however, very social and politically aware in terms of their lyrics. They weren't political in the party political sense, saying vote for this one, vote against that one. They were political in that they were great advocates of civil rights, of self respect, of dignity, of progressing. They were voices of their Black American community. And these were messages that really touched people around the world because they could be universally appreciated, accepted, and celebrated, even if they were aimed at one particular group at one particular time in one particular place. There was a great music festival, one of the greatest music festivals in the history of the world in the early 1970s, called Wattstax, which is a portmanteau of Stax Records and the Watts area of South Central LA. It wasn't held in Watts, it was held in Exposition Park at the LA Coliseum, but it's not too far from Watts. And it was a celebration of not only civil rights, but of the soundtrack to the civil rights movement. And this was in 1971, when the civil rights movement was still really in its quintessential phase in many ways. The event was hosted by Jesse Jackson. The headline performer was Isaac Hayes, but there were so many great performers there. And the Staple Singers really were one of the best. You could say they stole the show, though there were so many great musicians there. But the video of them, the film rather, because it was on actual film, of their performance just goes to show you how tight they were, how soulful they were. They're the kind of music where if you don't like music because you just, I don't know, it just doesn't do anything for you, so long as you have a pulse, the Staple Singers are going to do something to you. And that really is the point. It's about reaching out to the prodigal sons out there. It's about waking people up from complacency, but it's doing it in a way that is wholesome, that is fun, that is danceable, and that is beautiful. And they retained that throughout their entire career from the 1950s up to the present day, where Mavis continues to delight audiences even in her advanced age. What a group they were. Respect Yourself is a song for the ages, but they had so many hits. And it's the kind of music that really will never go away because the message is, while they were about what was going on at a certain time, and in that sense, they were a newspaper, there's also a universality to the themes that do make them universal, not only in a thematic sense, but also in a sequential sense. You don't need to be at Wattstax in 1971 to listen to the music that they were making around that time. It's still relevant today, for better or for worse. You could argue, has progress been made? Hasn't it been made? These are all questions, very important questions, that the music will raise with audiences throughout the planet. So, a very happy and blessed 85th birthday to Mavis Staples. Not many people can say that. Every year, well deserved, and may you have many more. Like, subscribe. We will see you next time. Take care.